is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and I am back with the Season 3, Episode 4 recap of Killing Eve. As always, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. Episode 4 begins in Poland as we ride along with Niko on his bread delivery. That's right, bread delivery. After checking himself out of the sanitarium, Niko has returned to the simple life and seems happy for the first time in 3 seasons. We watch as he takes a terrible Insta selfie, delivers bread to a nice old lady, and ignores Eve's incessant text messages. Eve, on the other hand, has become a smelly train wreck. After last week's teddy bear scare, she has unofficially moved into the Bitter Pill offices, but hasn't quite figured out the whole shower thing yet. She receives a text from Niko and almost drops her phone in shock and excitement. After getting dressed and pilfering Bear's Cocoa Puffs, Eve gets back to work. But after Charles Kruger's assassination, the Geneva account trail has gone cold. She and Bear begin searching the current string of 12 assassinations for clues and are interrupted by a birthday cake delivery for Eve. She already knows who it's from and takes the cake to the roof to open it, just in case it explodes. The cake is an adorable replica of a double-decker bus, you know, like the one she and Villanelle shared their first kiss on. Eve impulsively pitches the cake off the roof into the parking lot below, and seems to instantly regret it. Jamie then pops up, and after confirming that today is really Eve's birthday, he informs her she can't squat at the Bitter Pill offices, but sweetly offers his place as an alternative. The new roommates bond over takeout and swap stories about what terrible people they are. Jamie took his kid to the zoo while he was high on ketamines. Eve cheated on her husband and was indirectly responsible for putting him in the hospital with a severe case of PTSD. Not to be outdone, Jamie gave his best friend the drugs that ended up killing him. Eve opens her mouth to one-up Jamie again, but stops herself, and we can't help wondering what she was about to say.
I love you. I honestly love you.
It's bedtime, and Eve is using thoughts of Villanelle to block out Jamie's loud-ass cistern when Niko comes through with yet another text message, and Eve becomes as giddy as a schoolgirl. Back at the Bitter Pill, thanks to Villanelle's flair for the dramatic, Eve is able to link the murder of the political agitator to Dasha's 1974 murder of her admirer. But before they can get any further, Eve receives yet another text from Niko and pieces out on the investigation. Eve pops up in Poland like it's only a couple miles away and finds Niko hanging out in a barn doing barn things. She waves happily and walks toward him, but we have to wait to find out what happened because we are then whisked to Russia, where Konstantin is watching his daughter Irina being dropped off to school. After a cute reunion in which Irina curses her father under her breath, the two take a stroll around Moscow while Irina eats ice cream. But Konstantin's daughter is far from a clueless child. She calls him out on his selfishness, then warns him that his duplicity will eventually get him killed. She demands that he get his shit together and come up with a plan. Konstantin is back in London and visiting with Charles Kruger's clueless widow, Bertha. Before his death, Charles sent Bertha an email explaining that he had figured out the identity of the embezzler, and if anything happened to him, she should send the email and an attached file to a certain email address. But in her confusion and grief, Bertha had yet to do so. Konstantin instructs her to send the file to him and he'll take care of everything. He then suggests she go somewhere safe, and she tells him she'll go to her holiday house. A quick check-in with Villanelle shows her attempting to make a birthday cake for Eve, but there's no time to dwell on semantics. Dasha has arrived, and after telling Villanelle her cake not only looks terrible, but tastes terrible, she casually asks Villanelle if she ran into anyone worth mentioning while she was in London. Villanelle, of course, lies, and Dasha clearly knows it, but strangely lets it go. She tells Villanelle that the 12 want to meet with her soon, and Villanelle is ecstatic, convinced she's finally getting her promotion.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
Dasha tells her to stay out of trouble and, most importantly, to stay put. Konstantin surprises Villanelle on the street by scaring her, which just pisses her off. Konstantin wants to discuss some top secret stuff, so they hop in a cable car for a little privacy. They exchange some info about Eve. Villanelle tells Konstantin it's Eve's birthday, and Konstantin tells Villanelle about Niko dumping Eve, which, unsurprisingly, tickles Villanelle. Konstantin then cuts to the chase. He has a lead on Villanelle's family and will locate them for her, but Villanelle must first do him a favor: kill Bertha Kruger. Villanelle is in France tending the garden at the widow Kruger's holiday house. After her cable car conversation with Konstantin, she developed a bad case of hiccups. Bertha tries to cure Villanelle by attempting to scare her. It doesn't work, but Villanelle seems to really like it and encourages the widow to keep scaring her. They playfully chase each other around the elaborate gardens until Villanelle strangles the woman with a garden hose. We can't forget about Carolyn. It's 5 a.m. and she awakens to the sound of frogs. She gets dressed and, on her way out, passes by Geraldine, who's awake for some reason. Carolyn meets with her MI6 supervisor Paul, and he can't apologize fast enough. Apparently, Charles Kruger's death has changed his tune significantly, and he gives Carolyn back full authority over the investigation as well as her office. Carolyn is on her way home when she sees Konstantin casually walking by while talking on the phone. When she arrives home, Geraldine is clearly surprised to see her so early in the day. Carolyn low-key interrogates her daughter, and Geraldine's answers are super sketch. She then dramatically falls to her knees sobbing. She tells Carolyn she's worried about her and insists they talk about Kenny. Carolyn's like, no, then cryptically hints that perhaps Geraldine is keeping things from her as well. Carolyn then returns to her bedroom, turns on her frog noise machine, then screams or sobs into her pillow. Dasha has just completed her laps in the pool and is in the middle of a smoke break when a smartly dressed woman in red pumps interrupts. It soon becomes clear the woman works for the 12, and she demands to know why Villanelle is running wild in London playing games with her agent friend. Dasha makes a weak excuse for Villanelle, and the woman tells Dasha she will never be allowed to return home to Russia if she can't keep Villanelle away from Eve. Dasha offers to kill Eve, but the woman in the red pump declines. Instead, she instructs Dasha to drive a wedge between Eve and Villanelle. We are back in Poland, but this time we're riding shotgun with Dasha. We watch as she greets Niko disguised as an old Polish woman. Apparently, she disposed of the last old Polish woman. Then we get to see exactly what Dasha's been up to behind the scenes this entire time. You know, those text messages from Niko luring Eve to Poland. From Dasha. We then watch as Dasha attaches a note to a pitchfork that reads, "Still got it," and sneaks up behind Niko. As Eve waves to her hubby, Dasha stabs him with the pitchfork and scampers away, her evil plan finally complete. And last but not least, Konstantin has come through for Villanelle, and although we don't know where she is, wherever it is home. And that's it for the recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me, do you think Dasha has finally succeeded in turning Eve against Villanelle? And why don't the 12 just kill Eve? What's their real reason for keeping her alive? And seriously, what is up with Geraldine? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.